Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a special edition of the Bama Standard Post Game Show. Before we get everything rolling, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, get in a live chat, show out, show up. Alabama definitely did. If you're watching replay, we need you in the comment section showing some love. As always, every program we have is brought to you by Workspace Solutions. If your company needs a full digital presence or full-fledged marketing team, these are the guys to reach out to coach your team. Get to workspacepros.com today and get started with an incredible relationship with those awesome guys. Well, it's all coming up roses for Alabama because we are headed to the 2023 college football playoffs, opening around the Rose Bowl, a place that we are very well accustomed to, and we don't lose there. And who do we draw? None other than Jim sign-stealing Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines.
Blue balls.
We have got an all-star cast today. At the last minute, I rounded up some great guys to provide some awesome analysis from the final whistle, who never, ever is short for his words, Luscion.
You know, like I said early in the season, trust the process, and we trusted in Sabin, and here we are. Now we got 2 more to go. Still getting better, and we still can rise, and that's scary for the nation. I'm so happy. I'm excited. It's going to be a great month, Bama Nation. Let's go. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right. Next to him is actually our sponsor, Workspace Solutions. He also has a great show called From Week Zero Sports. He writes a column. He does a little bit of everything. He's an Alabama grad, and he also is a Ole Miss Rebel at heart, but we love him just the same. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Daniel Pettey.
Hey,
What's
man.
up,
Hey, glad to be here, guys. Man, I tell you what, since I was 12, when I was told by the media, the first time I really understood media, that you just can't, Bama can't, nobody can beat Miami. Geno Tread is too good. Lamar Thomas is too fast. They're unstoppable. That's all I heard. And from that time in my life, Bama's just been a little different, man. And you can see it when they're different too. You know, the last 2 years, we got touted up as the best team that Saban's ever had, and it fell short. But this team just don't have it. This team don't have it. And, you know, then they just keep winning and they keep winning and they keep winning. But, man, you kind of felt like y'all said after that LSU-Kentucky game, I just felt that vibe, man. And then here the Tide is. I guarantee Michigan ain't happy right now. Florida State ain't happy. Michigan really ain't happy. That Tide's coming.
Did you see their response?
Oh, yeah.
The Michigan response when they found out they had to play Bama? They had a camera in the back of the room, and they was like, no!
We're going to get to that.
Cobras already there was like,
Oh, no, yeah.
That was hilarious.
For FSU. Tide's coming.
Hey, we're going to get to that, but we're going to introduce the rest of our great panel. Just below Daniel is a 2-time national champion, 2-time SEC champion, one of the best linemen to ever do it at the capstone. Chris Owens, what's up, brother?
What up, man? I smell blood in the water. It's about to be ugly. And somebody check on Booger. Tell Booger to stop crying on TV. You're a grown man. Stop crying on TV.
I just tweeted that, man. Look at my Twitter. I just tweeted it.
And we appreciate Chris, who jumped on at the gym. I think he's in a supply closet, so we definitely appreciate the effort today. And then from the final whistle, former Alabama defensive back and the real star of the James brothers, Chris James.
Yeah, because Dan's not here, so I can say that. What's going on, fellas? Man, I am elated, man. I'm like a kid in the candy shop, man. Simply because not because of us getting in, but more so of we proved the doubters wrong, the naysayers. Like the Lank slogan, it means something. You know what I'm saying? So I just love proving people that just hate on Bama wrong. I just love it.
Before we get into it, we got a couple of super chats to start us out. Gavin Kane with $1.99. Lank, top 4. Hope UGA dog walks FSU.
They will.
And just below him, Don Parker with $5. As I previously stated, Bama beats whoever they line up against. The committee will not matter. Let's get this big trophy. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Well, let's get things started.
Tide.
Luscion, we're going to start with you, then go to Daniel, and then down to Chris, and then the other Chris. What were your thoughts going in? Was there ever any doubt? Now, I know the committee looked a little bit disorganized the entire season, especially when choosing the top 10 teams week after week. It looked like Alabama was being constantly punished for their week 2 loss against Texas. But not just that, they were penalized for barely escaping USF and then also not dog walking teams that many thought we really should have dog walked, especially Arkansas. But then we turned it on the later half of the season, which I felt like is when we really made our case, and then Lank reigned supreme. Start us out, brother.
You know, I felt like the committee was, in a way, kind of challenging us throughout the season with not giving us our deserved ranking, and I felt like it actually, in turn, fueled our team to get where we are at this stage in the season right now. Because if you know, you have adversity early on in the season, you really find out what you have amongst your team. You find out who wants to show up early. You find out who wants to stay late. You find out who wants to put the hard work in. And the team responded at the highest level. And the fact that the committee finally, and, you know, it was in doubt. We all had our doubts. I had my doubts that they weren't going to do the right thing. But I know if we won the SEC championship and beat Georgia in the SEC championship, they would have no choice but to put us in, or else college football in itself would just be dead. So they did the right thing. Finally, it may have took them the whole season, but you know what? Sometimes, like Sabin said, you don't take a cake out right away. You got to let that thing bake. And the committee let it bake all season.
Before we get to Pettey, Don Parker, another $2 our way, and just like that, them dogs stop barking. Laugh out loud. Pettey, give us your insight, sir. How are you feeling? Was there doubt in your mind, and did the committee actually get it right in the last year before the 12-team playoff starts?
Yeah, man, and I tell you, boy, Bama dropped a grenade in their cereal bowl last night and said, good luck with this shit. Because, you know, they've kind of gotten bailed out every year. For 10 years, they've gotten bailed out with teams just falling or whatever. And last night, Bama didn't bail them out. They made them make the hard decision. And I was curious. I loved it because it did. For once, it made them have to stay true to what they said. It's the best teams playing, not, you know, necessarily a conference champion or what Florida State did. They had to look at the injury. So like the rest of you guys, I was sitting there, I was curious, are they going to do the right thing? But at the end of the day, man, like I felt for weeks, you can't keep the SEC champion out. And at the end of the day, they did the right thing. They picked the 4 best teams. I think there could also be an argument made, and that's later, for Georgia being one of the 4 best if you really want to get real about it. Because, I mean, outside of Bama, who wouldn't Georgia beat in that top 4? But, no, at the end of the day, you got to put Michigan, even their cheating asses, which they should have been expelled from it. But exactly. Michigan, Washington, Alabama, Texas, they got it right. I'd absolutely think they nailed it. You know, I wish we had I wish we were already in the 12-team playoff, though, because I think that would be, but
that would be awesome this year.
Yeah, it would be great this year.
Yeah, because your Rebels will be in this year, Daniel.
Yeah. Oh man, I think I'm hearing rumors they're going to get a shot at Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, which is going to be Lane Train and Ohio State. Sign me up for that. But like I tell you, man, you know I am both sides. But when Ole Miss falls out of it, I'm full crimson when it comes to Bama taking it to the title, and I felt it this year, man. It was just that, again, the 12-year-old fan in me saw that, okay, Bama's rising. It's just a special program, man, and they rise up in the special moments, and you just had to feel it. If you haven't been around this sport for 30 years, then you haven't been paying attention and didn't see what was coming last night, because I saw it. I knew what was coming last night. Bama was good. So, yeah, I think they got it right. I'm glad Bama threw a grenade and made it rough on them. But at the end of the day, they put the right teams. Texas needed to be in that thing, because you can't tell me Texas ain't looking good. And I think we may be getting a rematch.
I said the same thing.
At the end of the day, really, it comes down to money and who spends better than Bama fans or SEC fans. And what bigger moneymaker would there be, honestly, than Bama versus Texas in a rematch for the national championship? You can't write a better script.
In Houston.
Oh, yeah. I love it. On the eve of Texas coming into the SEC, too, I love it. Sign me up. I think it's coming. I'll be shocked if that's not the championship.
Be like, y'all thought and how they celebrate on our field after the game.
Mm-hmm.
I know that has to be in the back of those guys' mind.
Don't get Saban twice.
Don't.
Don't happen.
Beat them and be humble about it.
That's right.
I don't know. It depends on how healthy Texas is at their skill positions. Because if they're not healthy against Washington, I mean, because Texas, I mean, I'm not saying they don't have a defense, but Washington is going to score. They're not going to keep Texas from scoring, but if Texas doesn't have their main weapons, then it might be a little bit more difficult and might keep the game a little closer.
Washington is going to be one-dimensional, and that's going to be the doom because they're not going to run on Texas, and that's going to be detrimental to them because when Texas takes away the run and makes you one-dimensional, you're in trouble, man. That's what happened to us.
I don't know, man. I watched a little bit of Oregon and Washington Friday night, and they've got a stout running back who, despite being banged up, was driving through that line, and he was bringing hell with him. So I think Texas is going to have a hard time trying to slow him down. But I think Washington's going to be a great opponent for him. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing the offense we're going to see in this game. Real quick, Jimmy Clay has got $20 coming our way. We in. Roll Tide, roll.
Jimmy.
The bags,
appreciate
Clay.
that.
Roll Tide, Jimmy.
Roll Tide, Jimmy. I know Jimmy's pumped right now, man.
Hey, there is no bigger Alabama fan supporter of all Bama sports than Jimmy Clay.
Thank you, Jimmy.
It's fans like him and all you in the chat that allow us to do what we do and ultimately bring the success to the programs. We appreciate every one of y'all. Anybody checked on Booger? We're going to provide a consolation post-program show for
He's
Booger.
Getting oxygen right now. He's in the back getting oxygen. Doing a commercial break.
Chris Owens, you're a man who's about town in Texas right now. How you feeling? Did they get it right? Did you ever have any doubts? Talk to us.
First off, can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah.
You are good.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really had any doubts. I do think if you watch football, if you're not from Tallahassee or have some sort of SEC Alabama bias, and you just look at the scale of things, and it's clear who the best four teams are. Regardless if we're in the SEC, ACC, a good team is a good team, and it's just very hard to convince not only a committee but players themselves that you're better than certain teams if you don't have your starting quarterback or even your second string quarterback. You're not scoring on offense, you're not beating teams definitively. So I think it was clear cut from the beginning. I feel bad for the people in Tallahassee. I mean, I guess I can say sorry. It's just how sports works. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but yeah, I think they got it right. And kind of speaking to what you guys were talking about with the Washington-Texas game looking ahead, Texas had a lot of deep balls thrown on them that they were behind on. And I really think that's something that if we do end up playing them looking forward, we'll try to take more advantage of with how comfortable our defense has gotten. I mean, our offense has gotten. But aside from that, I'm just happy we got in. I don't think it's even close. You can make a case that we're probably the second or third best team in the country, but I don't think they would let us jump 6 spots like that.
Fair enough. Chris James, who's at the No-Tell Motel down there in Atlanta right now, supporting the Tide. He was in the Dome yesterday. Talk to us. Let's close out this part of the show, and then we'll get our thoughts about going forward. Well, he's got that great hotel Wi-Fi, courtesy of Boost Mobile and the Boost Mobile Network.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there he is. Okay, welcome in, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Live from the No-Tell Motel over there in downtown in Atlanta. This part of the
not
strip
stay
club
at Holiday Inn Express
and the buffet.
Yeah, I should have hooked it up to the Wi-Fi here, but
imagine that.
Yeah, but I believe the committee got it right, man. You have to think. I feel bad for Florida State, but at the same time, I mean, when you're down to your third string quarterback, it's hard, man. Even if they got Rodemaker back, they were down 12-0 to Florida. Like, is that the team you really want to put in on display as one of your four best teams in the Rose Bowl against Michigan? like you struggle to score against Louisville last night. You struggle to score against Florida. How do you might get routed against Michigan? I mean, it's just it's unfortunate that the injury happened, and I fully believe if Jordan Travis would have been healthy, they probably would have been in. You know, he's an ACC Player of the Year. I mean, you just can't. They take injuries into consideration, but also if Bama wouldn't have gotten in, that would have let every team in the country know to schedule cupcakes. You don't get rewarded for your tough schedule. Like we went out and played Texas, and their best win, Florida State's best win, is against the 5th best team in the SEC, which is LSU this year. That was our 3rd or 4th best win. So, I mean, the third strength. I think we had the number 3 ranked strength of schedule, top 5 strength of schedule, and Florida State was 55th. Like you can't. I mean, we went 12-1. We just knocked out Debo. Georgia's been Debo. That's been invincible for the last 3 years. They've been giving Georgia this. They crowned Georgia already. They really already crowned Georgia. They crowned them, and we went in there and slapped them around. And I mean, it could have been worse. The score could have been worse because we dropped like 4 interceptions. So to leave Bama out would have been a travesty to college football. Like Booker says, leaving Florida State out, that's crap. That's BS. Leaving Bama out would have been a travesty because how do you not reward the 12-1 SEC champ whose only loss came to another playoff team? You get what I'm saying? And you have to ask yourself, if you swap Bama's schedule with FSU, Bama would have gone 13-0 just like FSU did with more impressive wins. And also, you have to ask yourself, would FSU have gone 12-1 and beaten Georgia with Bama's schedule if they would swap schedules?
Nope.
No. So if you can't say yes to all of those, then that's your answer. So, I mean, just calling a spade. But I think that what's going to be good for them is they're going to feed them to the Bulldogs in the Orange Bowl.
a mad Bulldog team.
Mad Bulldog team. That's how I think it's going to roll out.
And that'll prove why and that'll be proof enough why they didn't need to be in, because they'll get absolutely dismantled. And everybody will be like, see, they probably didn't need to be in the Final Four.
Well, as long as they don't have a bunch of players opt out, which tends to happen when you don't make it to the games.
It doesn't matter with Georgia. Georgia still, it's not going to matter.
Guys, you bring up a very good point as to the state of Florida State's football team right now. No disrespect to them. I hate it for them. I hate that we're still on the 4-team format instead of the 12-team format, which is coming next year, and it's going to be a tremendous relief. But look, I know we're in a participation trophy generation, but the committee cannot, at the end of the day, hand out participation trophies. We did that last year. The college football playoff itself is, at the end of the day, is a business. Last year, they lost a lot of money throwing TCU in there. One of the least watched national championship games in the history of the college football playoff. I don't know how it stacks up, long term as far as national championship games, but you can't tell me it was up there. It was downright awful. And I hate Jordan Travis is out, but when you're sitting there with a 3rd-team quarterback, and maybe their 2nd-team quarterback comes back from his concussion or whatever his injury was and plays, but even at that time, does it put FSU in elite status where they could go head-to-head against the powerhouses? Yes, Florida State's defense is solid, but you got to generate offense at the end of the day. And against some of these folks here in the top 4, I just don't see their offense generating what is necessary to get past a Washington, a Texas, or an Alabama, maybe Michigan, because Michigan has been the perennial homecoming opponent in the college football playoffs. Hope that trend continues this year. But before we move on, I want to mention to everyone, the Bama Standard Network has actually partnered with Title Towel. You can't have a complete game day without flying your Title Towel. Go to whitwellsports.com, right there on the screen if you need to learn spelling, to order your Title Towel, but also enter a promo code STANDARD, and you're going to receive a nice little discount courtesy of the Bama Standard Network. So, guys, let's talk about the matchups itself. Let's talk about going up against Jim Harbaugh. Go ahead and forget that they should be excluded because of their wrongdoings. And we all admit on this panel, if we're truthful, they shouldn't be in it because of what they've been doing. But apparently you just get slaps on the hands when it's convenient.
Yep.
But we got them nonetheless. And the reality of it is their schedule hasn't been one that you can definitely applaud when you only have to play 1.5 good teams the entire season. It makes for compiling wins a lot easier. So how does Bama match up ultimately? Well, of course, we'll talk about this a lot more as the game draws near, but let's start things out. Luscion, we'll start with you. Then we'll go to Pettey, then Chris James, and hopefully Chris Owens can get out of that witness protection program and give us his thoughts.
I haven't done a real deep dive into Michigan yet. But from what I've seen, they like to run the ball a lot, which, I mean, that's prototypical Harbaugh game plan. He likes to run the ball, a lot of 12, 13-man personnel. He likes to utilize his tight ends in the flats. It's going to be a good matchup. I know they got a big offensive and defensive line similar to what we just played. I'd say they might be probably a little less physical than what we played last night in certain aspects, and maybe their guards are a little bit better than the guards we went up against last night. But I think as a whole, we match up very well, especially when it comes to our secondary against their passing game. I think we definitely have an advantage there. And I think we're going to take advantage of those advantages and get some turnovers, which will ultimately pay into us winning that game.
As soon as you started giving your analysis, I get a text from a Michigan fan. I hope you know we have one of the best defenses in college football. We're going to get at least 3 picks. Pettey, do you want to start out with that and then give your take on the Wolverines?
At least 3 picks. Wow, that's
and please throw in as much of your sarcasm that you are so beautifully
not stealing our signs this game, bud.
Yeah, wait, you don't have the flyovers anymore, buddy. We're not giving away signs, and this isn't the Big Ten. With your weak quarterbacks like Penn State. Look, man, you mentioned they won 1.5 games. I watched Penn State. I'm not even sure that's a half a game. They suck. Ohio State wasn't what they've been this year. Their quarterback play, if they didn't have Marvelous Marv up there, they wouldn't have been anything. So you might want to hold on to that. Like you said, you've kind of been the whipping boy in the playoffs since you've been there. You might want to win one, especially when the king of the playoffs is coming. You know your coach had to change khakis when they announced Bama. Right? There's a brown mark in them things, buddy.
Maybe Scotch guarded and it just rolled right off.
And you hit a good point, Justin, that I wanted to kind of touch down on before we jump more into it about the ratings and the TV and the money. I turned off the Florida State game last night. And I love football. I couldn't watch it. I felt like I was watching Big Ten football. I wanted to gouge my eyes out with 3 yards in a cloud of dust crap that don't work and never works against the SEC, which we'll see in a couple of weeks out in Pasadena. But no, man, it's money. You want Bama you want that Bama Michigan, and Michigan is bringing eyes with all the scandal. I mean, they're bringing eyes because of scandal this year, not really what they've done on the field. Yeah, your defense is okay, but when you're stopping offenses that average 3.9 yards in Indiana and Iowa, who is ruining football and taking us back to the 60s with their offense. Like, come on. Yeah, your defense is really good against those juggernauts. It's not like you're going against Lane Kiffin or Daniels down at LSU and all these dynamic offenses the SEC brings. You're facing garbage. So, yeah, your defense looks real good. And look, McCarthy, Corum, they're decent, but they're not what Bama just faced in Georgia and shut down. So, come on, man. I don't like
or
good on you.
Wow.
Hell to the victors. Woo.
3 picks.
3 picks. Like, what world you like? Okay. Like,
you think he's worse than Kyle McCord or whatever that kid's name is at Ohio State?
Yeah. Come on,
dude.
Wow.
And I guess they don't understand the whole idea of dynamic quarterback. If Jalen isn't on in terms of passing, he's one of the most dangerous runners out there. So don't think you're just going to have your way against this guy.
He was off last night and he didn't throw a pick. So, like, I'm confused and, like, where he's getting that logic from. They're just going to pick him off. They're just going to pick him off 3 times.
His worst game was against Texas, where he threw 2, and he hasn't made those type of throws since then.
Been a different player.
And Texas has a way better secondary.
Well, Chris is back in from the transfer portal. We greatly appreciate you being back, sir. Hope it was a safe trip.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you've been able to hear while you're in there in the portal, but give us your thoughts on Michigan. I know we have a few weeks before we play them, and of course, we'll dissect them a lot over the course of the next several days. But give us your hot take.
I guess it's not. I don't know if it's too hot, but I do think we shut down the strength of their team, which is their running game, Blake Corum, and even J.J. McCarthy at times. Obviously, when you're able to run the ball so well, you have to have a really good offensive line. And I believe their offensive line might be in the Joe Moore Award running once again, which was kind of the case for them a few years ago when they played Georgia and couldn't move the ball at all. And so I think once again, just like this past week, the game's going to be won in the trenches. Our D-line versus their O-line in particular really scares me. They've got some speed. I haven't dove too deep into looking at their games, but I do know they have some talent on their D-line. But it's nothing that we've seen, like you guys have said, throughout the SEC play, even at some points last game. So I think we matched up really well with them. And our strength versus their strength will be our front seven in the run game versus their O-line, running back, and even quarterback runs.
Well, how you stop us as far as our run game, and then even Jalen is having a dominant edge rusher. And I don't think that Michigan has a guy that can match up well on the edge, especially now that Caden Proctor has shaken all that problems he had the first half of the season. He's becoming that dude right before our eyes. So good luck with finding somebody who matches up well against him. Chris, James.
And let me say, man, and people are surprised about last night's results. But what folks don't fail to realize, we keep telling them, Bama has 3 of the top 6 ranked recruiting classes of all time currently on their roster. You look at the talent evaluation, like how they measure talent, Bama has the number 1 ranked talented team in college football according to recruiting rankings. They have 18 5-stars and like 50-something 4-stars on the roster, currently on the roster. That's not by coincidence. And then, like, everybody knows Nick Saban plays his best ball in November and December. You know, Bama plays their best ball. So, and you look at Michigan, I don't think they have the dudes on the outside. They have a good corner in Will Johnson. They have some good guys, but I don't think they had the depth or the just overall guys at the skill position to just beat Bama. Bama can have the luxury, has the luxury to man up on those receivers and stack the box and take away Georgia's run, because their quarterback McCarthy isn't as much of a running threat as those guys we've seen in the past. Like he's no Thorne from Auburn. Mm-hmm. You know, he's kind of like what we saw yesterday. So we know where he's going to be when he's thrown off of his platform. He's going to be back there in the pocket. So I just feel like with a month to prepare, a month to get healthy, everybody's coming back healthy, including Deontay Lawson's ankle. Everybody's just getting healthy, man. And I believe they go in and send a message, man. I believe they really, because you remember Michigan had that beat Georgia period in their practice that they installed. They had a beat Ohio State practice, and they had a beat Georgia. But they didn't have a beat Bama period because they didn't expect Bama to be there. So I just believe that Bama, just from the lack of disrespect, they still have a point to prove and a chip on their shoulder. And I think that's going to show.
I hope Chris Owens is still with us. I don't know if his signal is strong enough, but one of the things I wanted to address, being a former Sabin player, is giving Sabin that month to prepare for a team. There is no greater man at preparation than Coach Sabin, especially when it comes to getting ready for the postseason. As soon as he comes back in, definitely want to hit him up on that. But guys, let's talk about that. how Saban is also the GOAT in this specific area. Luscion started out, go back to Pettey, then down to Chris James.
I mean, yeah, Saban is the ultimate strategical engineer when it comes to having time to prepare for an opponent. But on the other side of that, to help him with that, he has Kevin Steele as a defensive coordinator. Giving Kevin Steele with a Nick Saban together a month to prepare for a team that is not, I'm not going to say they're not multidimensional, but they're very fixed in on what they like to do. Now, if you give those two guys a month, they're going to come up with some schemes. And on the other side, Tommy Rees, too. I mean, Michigan does have a good defense. I'm not going to take anything away from some of the players they do have. They do have a lot of talent. Obviously, they wouldn't be considered the number one team in the nation if they didn't. But in saying that, I feel that we have players that have the ability to take it to that next level because they've been pushed to that point. I don't think Michigan's been pushed very hard, and when they did, they kind of didn't push back too hard. So I think that having Saban, giving him that much time, and most importantly, that time for us to get healthy in key positions, specifically our linebackers and defensive line, because if they, for some reason, get out of their way and want to sit McCarthy back in that pocket and just try to throw on us, it's going to be violent. Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell are going to have 3 apiece. It's going to be a sack fest because according to some of the stats I just read against Iowa, whoever they played, they got to them a bunch of times. And I can tell you this, they don't have no one on their defense nowhere near as talented as we do. So it's going to be great, y'all.
And back on the stage with his U.S. Heavyweight Championship belt is Chris Owens. I wanted initially for you to start this conversation out. So good. We're on the road to a title, so that kind of fits well with what you were doing. But before we get to Pettey, the conversation is Nick Saban and given time to prepare. Being a former Saban player, can you talk specifically about what the GOAT does when it comes to preparing for not only the postseason, but a playoff and ultimately a title?
Yeah, so obviously without giving away too much, I can say that it's not going to be the first time that they've looked at, as we probably know, it's not going to be the first time that they've looked at this offense or this defense or prepared for Michigan at all. But for our practices, everything was day by day, taking one aspect, one situation of the game, whether it's third down, 2 minute, 1st and 10, 2nd and long, really honing into that, especially for, I'm sure, his guys upstairs. This is the time where you have more time to really get in depth and you really start to pick up on tendencies. So you feel comfortable in whatever you call throughout the game, and you can even anticipate things without having to feel like you're guessing. You can anticipate the adjustments that will come at halftime, the play-to-play adjustments. Even within the play, if there's going to be audibles, you can kind of have an anticipation for that. And so for us as players going into playoff games or any type of bowl game, we always felt comfortable knowing that our coaches put in so much work to prepare us for this, that there was really nothing they could surprise us with, because we also have a 13, 12 game sample size body of work on top of that as well.
Very well said. Pettey, pick up the baton, sir.
Man, going back to the GOAT, he said something last night in the post game that kind of took me back to a comment Langham made, that they asked Langham, when did you realize Saban was different? And it was when they were in NFL and Belichick had made a call on a goal line play for a defense, and it was an all-out blitz, and Saban was like, no, we need to go to a man, and kind of overrode him. And to that point, not seeing anybody override Belichick, and Saban said, this is what's going to work. They ended up intercepting the ball, won the game, whatever. Well, last night, and kind of back to what Luscion was saying, with Steele and Saban together, they come up with a great game plan. Well, they did, but Georgia had ran something to get Dallas Turner out into coverage. And Saban got on that mic and said, hey, we got to go to a base 40. We're going to get pressure on him with 4 guys. We got to run a defense to keep Turner in. And it was just one of those moments where Saban in the game. And one of the things I've always loved, people always try to break down the GOAT. Where are his weaknesses? And you've heard people kind of murmur, well, you can get him on game day, out scheme him. And that right there is was a point in case. No, you can't, because he's sitting right there in the game. He gets on the headset. He makes that call. And what do you see? You see Turner. I don't think Eason's been sacked all year. And then you see Turner get back there and pop him a few plays later. It's just that right there, man. Those are the moments where you just get this feeling like that warm and fuzzy that, good gracious, this guy he's the GOAT, man. There's a reason he's the GOAT. And those are the moments where he makes the call during the game, the onside kick against Clemson that nobody expected. He makes those calls, man, that just separate him from other coaches, separates him from Kirby.
No doubt. No doubt. I wonder if Kirby sends him a Father's Day present every year.
Him and
Chris
15
James.
other coaches in college football.
Yeah.
Chris James, finish up this topic on the GOAT, and then we'll ease on out of here to enjoy the rest of our Sunday afternoon.
All you have to do is just look at his record in Atlanta. I think he's undefeated in Atlanta, isn't he?
Just one loss.
Even when was that?
You talking about Sabin?
I know in Mercedes-Benz he's undefeated. I don't know about Atlanta as a whole.
He lost with the Florida early with Tebow.
Yeah, 2008 national SEC championship, lost to Florida.
Oh, that's right. That's the only time.
But that was, I understand for getting that. It was 2.5 decades ago, so
Yeah, and plus, I mean, he's the GOAT, so we're not gonna hold that against him.
Or a decade and a half, not 2. I can't do math. Mississippi math.
Well, I guess the Holiday Inn Express Wi-Fi has been cut off for Chris James. But hey, I definitely. Oh, there he is. He is back. They gave us a little bit more. I think he put in a couple of coins in the machine next to his phone. Go right ahead.
Yeah, but I think that since that Florida loss in 2008, which was remarkable of him going 8-0 in the SEC that year, his second year there, he's been flawless, man, in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He's undefeated in the Mercedes-Benz. He's flawless, and since that Tebow game. That was one of the greatest Florida teams, football teams of all time that he lost to, that 2008 Florida team. But and we were supposed to get gotten blown out that game, according to a lot of people, and we were in it, in the fourth quarter. So, but it's just when it comes to big games, man, don't ever count out Nick Saban. Don't ever count out Nick Saban. And even doing those couple of Clemson losses, you can point back to it. First off, that first one, there should have been an offensive pass interference against Clemson that first time with that pick route they ran that they didn't call. That was a pick route, obvious pick route. That should have been, that game should have gone to overtime if Clemson would have made the field goal. And then the 2008 year, man, I really believe that rumor that Venables was still in Science, man. That they were still in Science. Clemson. You remember when it came out with Ryan Day? I think it was Ryan Day when he called out Venables them for Science stealing. I really believe that they had our signs that 2008 national championship game. And the reason why I say that, because that pick that they made, that pick six they made on tour, man, it was like something that you couldn't you couldn't script that. You know what I'm saying? Like that pick he made against Tour was I don't understand how he came out there. It was crazy, but that's neither here nor there. But just the GOAT, man. He prepares like no other. I saw a story about Tua when he was talking about how Nick Saban came up to him after that the 2nd and 26 after the game. It was like, why did you take that sack? Everybody else was celebrating, and Tua made a joke out of it. He was like, I just needed more room. Then he said Nick Saban looked at him and said, that's not funny, and walked off. Just the dude is thinking, man, while everybody else is relaxed. He never relaxes. Like, he's always thinking about how he can get better or what he can do differently. And like Luscion hammered for weeks and weeks and weeks, the process. The process takes care of itself. Every time it's a foolproof process that only can be imitated but never duplicated. So, I mean, just last night, man, that wasn't proof in itself. Nobody gave Bama a chance, but people who actually follow college football and know what they're talking about. Like people who actually saw this coming like, I mean, it's just so much you can go on and on about the guy, man. He's the GOAT, man. It's not close. It's a 5-1 record against Kirby. That's insane. I don't even think nobody else has a winning record against Kirby. So,
man, what a tremendous year for Alabama, especially when the dynasty was over, to be able to rise out from the rubble.
They keep trying to kill that dynasty, don't they?
You can't will a dynasty's demise. It just doesn't happen. I mean, we all know at some point it will come to a close, but you can't will it every year.
I love you hear people all the time. Well, this is Saban's last year. Oh no, he's got 2 more years. No, he doesn't. He's going to coach until he's ready to quit coaching football. As long as he's competitive. Yep.
He's made it very clear, especially to us as players. He said that in meetings several times, that he's been a part of a team pretty much all his life. And that really, he enjoys that aspect of his life, and he can't imagine just being at home, not having that competitive aspect about him. So I think he'll coach until he physically can't.
And Tyler Siskey, who coached at Ole Miss under Freeze and then at Bama with Saban, made the comment that someone was talking about when they were making the debate about Saban retiring. He said, well, look, when I interviewed at Bama, I asked Saban when he was going to retire, and he's blown well past that number already, which goes back to he loves it too much, man. As long as he's competitive, which he's, like you said, we're still bringing in top 2-3 recruiting classes every year. That's competitive. He ain't going nowhere.
Man, that COVID year when he missed that Auburn game, he said that gave him a rejuvenation. He realized how much he missed it, and that added like 5 years on. I think when he missed that Auburn game and Sark had the coach, that right there was, he was like, man, I was miserable. He'll be miserable at home retiring. Could you imagine him in the garden sitting there retired, garden with his tools, and Terry comes out?
I don't think Miss Terry.
He definitely couldn't watch football.
It was so weird around that time too, because his presence, he wasn't there. Like, we would see him on the Zoom meetings, but it was like, I mean, you're not here.
Yeah.
And I think he was at the point where he was like, man, I just need to get away. Miss Terry's yelling at me all the time. I need to get back on the field and start practicing.
That's it. Miss Terry won't let him retire. She don't want him around that much either.
She's awesome, isn't she? She's awesome, man.
Love Miss Terry.
Miss Terry's awesome.
Miss Terry's got that belt out, acting like Ike Turner and saying,
I think they always give the recruiting coordinator of the year or whatever, who's the number one recruit. Miss Terry should have won that thing multiple times
with the mamas.
Yeah,
she's very. Hey, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm good.
I'd like to take this opportunity in our program to invite somebody in our audience to do a wellness check on Danny Cannell and David Pollock. So if anybody could possibly provide some feedback as to how they are handling things right now, we greatly appreciate it. And we got word that right now Booger McFarland is in a storage closet somewhere listening to Adele and eating Ferrero Rocher. So,
hey, Aaron Murray too, dude. Aaron Murray too. Don't leave him out.
They pay so much money for people to just go on TV and say things that they don't even believe. It's
that's what engagement. And if you're watching,
did that on his private stream though.
Yeah,
I do feel like I think there's something to that though, man, Chris, because you were watching today, and the first one was Joey made his point, and it's like they couldn't have an echo chamber; they had to have a counterpoint. So the very next one was Booger, so he drew the card of the counterpoint today, and he's tough skin, getting paid a lot of money. I think there's a lot of that to it, where it's, hey, this is your stance to take today, go for it.
That's why I pivoted from watching so much ESPN, and I pay attention more like YouTube, like certain guys that really give, an analytical aspect of things, and not just, oh, well, we can't all agree, so let me go ahead and I don't want to echo this.
Pick Bama to win it all.
Yeah.
Man, how eerily similar is it to a WWE program, huh, Chris? It's all about drawing the engagement, right?
Facing the heel. You got to have a face in the heel.
You do. I mean, this is sports entertainment now. So
what is Bama? Is Bama Hulk Hogan, or are they the heel?
That's a good.
The Empire or the Jedi? Where are we rolling here in Crimson, man? Because I feel like I felt like over the years, I don't know, man.
I think that they were red and we were red and yellow Hulk Hogan for a while, but now the media looks at it as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the one that turned heel and is leading the NWO?
I was gonna say
you hate to watch, but then you can't stop watching because
Chris, you played. What'd you feel like out there? Were y'all the you coming out with the red and blue Hogan, or were y'all coming out?
We'll
Hollywood?
See, I was fortunate to join kind of still in the heart of the dynasty where people weren't writing us off, so we were always the favorites. So, and I probably felt closer to Hollywood Hogan. Nobody really wanted to watch it. No one was ever rooting for us.
Everybody wants y'all to go down.
Yeah.
Actually, here is a great example.
Don Parker's comment. That's what I was going to say.
Don Parker, Bama is the CM Punk of college football. That right there. That's it.
Wow.
That's it right there.
That's what I was going to say. Everybody's like, oh, we really don't want them there. But in the back of their heads, they're like, I mean, they did take down Georgia. They were the only ones that could do it. So thank you. But here they go again.
I think Lane Kiffin is the LA Knight of college football. Pettey, if you hadn't checked that LA Knight.
I was going to go with the Shawn Michaels, but
okay. I can see
I could see him coming out the sexy boy. But man, I don't know.
No, juice comes out to that.
I see Bama as that Hogan though, man, where you beat him down and he's losing the match, and then you start breathing. Oh hell, here it comes. They facing Georgia. That breathing's coming up, and he's gonna start shaking.
So in the hypothetical, we play Texas again. Does Undertaker show up to Houston?
Oh,
he has to.
He has to. He'll have to, man. They gave him credit for that win, I think, in part.
What wrestler represents us? I know we're way off topic, guys, and we're going to
Stone Cold was at my graduation in Tuscaloosa, so maybe Stone Cold.
Actually, Stone Cold.
He's from Texas, but he married a girl. He married Deborah, who went to Holt, and her niece was in my graduating class. So Stone Cold and Deborah McMahon.
Wait a second. Goldberg's son was committed to Alabama, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
and
he's
the next
he's a preferred walk-on.
I mean, but still, his son's in the Bama colors, so I mean, that's.
I'd love some Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean,
actually, to your point, Pettey, Stone Cold has gone on record supporting Bama.
Oh yeah, man! Stone Cold's got a little Tuscaloosa in his blood. If he's still married to Deborah, he's got a lot of Tuscaloosa in his blood.
He comments during games. He throws out some roll tides. We got a couple more here. What a turn this podcast has taken.
Yeah,
Alabama is the Undertaker. And then,
I like this one. Seth Rollins. Yeah,
Seth Rollins.
Well, my daughter just.
Here's a good one, right?
I agree with that one.
Yeah, Alabama.
No matter what happens, we're coming up on top. No matter who you stack against us, we're winning. No matter what you try to do to us.
My daughter just did a project comparing SEC teams to houses and Game of Thrones, and we put Alabama as the Targaryens. I don't know if you got some Game of Thrones people.
Heck yeah!
Do you have a link to that paper so we can read that online?
Talk to me, Chris.
I had the perfect one. Alabama is the Four Horsemen, and Nick Saban is Ric Flair.
Woo!
Woo! Them on ride. How many time champion?
16.
Y'all gonna like this. Auburn,
Ric Flair, and Bama are the Four Horsemen.
Oh,
so Nick Saban has spent more money on spilt liquor around the world.
Jet flying,
limousine riding, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. Gonna have a hard time keeping these Gators down. Woo!
He was actually at one of the natties. It was either Natty or the SEC when we were warming up, and all of us turned around and we all did the woo at the same time.
Really?
That was 2017, Chris.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was 17?
Yeah, that was 17.
Yeah.
Because that was the year of the infamous comment from Bo that everybody made up about Donald Trump.
Oh Lord!
Oh, and just for the record, guys,
that was like my freshman year, and I was just like, "Oh wow, okay, well."
Well, guys, it's time to start closing up shop. But before we do, as always, we go around the room, let everybody prop what they got, and tell us where y'all can be found. We'll start out with Luscion, then we'll go to Pettey, and And then down to Chris Owens and Chris James.
You can find me on Twitter as below Rolush21. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as Luscion Graves. And you can find me on Tuesday nights with Chris James and the rest of our Molly group of men getting it in. And we're going to get a deep dive these next couple weeks about what's coming up.
I got a comparison from Michigan. I think Michigan is the Miz. Come on, CEO. You don't see that?
I do. Willing to do whatever it takes to win. No one really wants them there, but they just kind of hang around.
Hey, Michigan.
I was going to say Michigan's like Edge.
Hey,
Michigan's like Edge. I don't know.
Yeah.
People can get behind Edge though, especially right now.
Hey,
Yeah, right now, but not back then. Not back
like,
then.
Maybe Chris Jericho. He's there, but still annoying as hell, and you just want to slap him around.
Yeah, Jericho was just lame.
But you want to hear what
but he
Jericho
was
had to
always
say,
there.
though.
But you still had to deal with him.
He was.
All right, $5 here. This solidifies it from Pacino.
Oh, The Rock.
Bama is the Rock, laying the smackdown on that candy ass. Can you smell what Coach Saban is cooking?
Yeah.
we got
Look at Mike's comment. Look at Mike's comment. Mike Coleman.
Hey.
Oh gosh, Nick Saban is Sting always around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but this year Sting is retiring, so we don't want Saban following suit.
This is exactly what the audience showed up for on Selection Sunday, comparing Bama to wrestlers.
doubt.
Love it.
Hey,
Where else can you find this? What now?
The odds just came out, and Bama are Michigan 2-point favorites, and the over under is 45.5. Man,
Michigan is 2-point
I
favorite.
suggest you go.
If you don't load
if
up
you're
on
a betting
Bama,
person,
you done
go
lost your
hammer
mind.
those numbers.
What is their basis on that? Michigan ain't play.
Don't let
that's
people
what we
go win
want.
free money. Let them go win free money.
That's
Give me
what
a
we want,
tide.
dude.
Petty,
Right.
I think you can
Let
take
them go win
this.
free money.
You specialize in sports betting
Oh,
on week
yeah.
0. Is this Vegas drawing the folks in right now?
Vegas baiting, man. That's a trap. I smell a bait. Look, man. They're because Bama was the last one in, one loss, Michigan's undefeated. You get a lot of that north. They're wanting Vegas wants they don't pay for those twinkly lights out in that desert with their own paychecks. They're trying to they're getting people. They know what they're doing. Go take that. Put your money on Bama. Be okay.
Apparently, this is a
Go
hot
win some
topic
free
here. It's still trending. Mars Cantrell, Alabama and Coach Saban is the Rock and the nation of domination.
Ooh.
Which one of our guys is Farouk?
Chris James.
Yeah, that's it. Pettey, it's your turn, sir. I want you to pop week 0, but also, too, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, and absolutely every show, you're part of not week 0. Of course, that's important.
It starts
I
with
love
a
it so
W.
much. I had to bring it up again, but Workspace Solutions help people understand what that's about and why their business needs it. But yeah, pop all your stuff, sir.
Oh yeah. Hey man, I'm Pettey. I'm with Week 0 Sports. We obviously kind of partner with Justin here. We help behind the scenes sometimes on their live shows, and then every once in a while they let me come out on the screen and say dumb stuff. But yeah, I'm Pettey with Week 0 Sports. Check us out at week0sports.com. Our podcast is all over the place. We mainly talk SEC, Bama, talk a lot of Ole Miss too. Got a little love for that red and blue, but we talk a lot of gambling. So if you like gambling, that's really the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we got one we might have just added. On the flip side, I'm with the sponsors, Workspace Solutions. We're at workspacepros.com. We can be your online digital marketing presence, man. We can help you with marketing online in any kind of way. We help with web design. We can do content writing. We're kind of one-stop shop to help your business grow online. But we can be that presence for you. So check us out at workspacepros.com. And again, I want to thank Justin for letting me come on with all these great guys. Luscion is one of our fans from the beginning. He's knows more football than I'll ever dream. Being on with you Bama guys, I love Alabama. It's such a special place and special program. And man, I'm excited to bring another natty home. So again, thank y'all for letting me be here.
Thank you for sponsoring us, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to do it, man. Y'all the bomb.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. You are too.
Chris, you may have ran into Pettey on the strip at the CC back in your day.
Ooh, might have. I was there. I was at Alabama for 8 years, which, by the way, if you go for 8 years, much like that show with Chris Farley, they don't just give you a doctorate. Those are doctors. It's not a time in thing, which I was wrong. So they just gave me a 4-year degree in that 8-year span. But if you were there between 98 and 04, yeah, I was roaming them. Roaming them main streets.
Hey, if you ran into Roman Harper and Shaw Weeds and all those guys, you saw me.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I might have gotten some shenanigans when Wesley Britt was actually, a college student, not a politician.
We were in the same recruiting class, man. Great guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Wesley. I hung out with Wesley and man, kind of ran into Brody. Had a few run-ins with Brody.
You meet Brody, you'll never forget.
Oh yeah, me and Brody, we still got a few giggles from mine. I met him the first time with a few drinks in me and an Ole Miss hat on at the basement in the Sigma Chi house, and that's a story for another day. We don't need to get into. But but it endeared me to Brody. If Wesley saw me coming, and Wesley just rolled his eyes, knowing I was going to say something dumb as shit, and I did. And we were buddies from then on.
hey, you remember the rumor about Brody getting shot on a hunting trip in Brazil?
Yeah. So dumb.
Brody's dead. He was killed on a hunting. And next thing you know, Brody's walking up. Like,
yeah.
Dude, aren't you dead?
Yeah. Didn't you die? No, man.
Before we get to Chris Owens, it's funny. We talk about the whole Sabin retiring thing. I just got a text saying prediction: if Alabama wins the Natty, Sabin retires.
Bullshit.
No.
Bullshit.
Sabin reloads for a three-peat. That's what that's going to be.
Okay, so they showed a stat this year that was the one that caught me, and it had Bear Bryant on it and his total wins at Alabama, and Nick Saban and his total wins. And Nick Saban had 30 less. You do the math, that's at least 3 seasons. And Chris can speak to this. Saban's, look, man, if anything, he's competitive. He likes to be the best. I think part of him, he wants to go out. No question. He's got every record in the book. Wrong. Fake news.
He got Caleb Downs for 2 more years. He ain't retiring.
He ain't going nowhere. No, man. No.
CEO, it's your turn, sir. How can folks find you? Social media and on here as well. You're heavily involved with us now.
Yeah, so I'm on here. I kind of leave it up to you to find me. I'm just here kind of. You can catch me on Friday Night SmackDowns pretty much every weekend. I'm out there with the wise man Roman Reigns and his crew. And in approximately about 2 minutes, you can catch me downstairs in my apartment getting my McDonald's from Roberto. And I'll be watching football for the rest of the day. That's all I got. My DoorDash delivery is on the way, man.
You're crazy, man. You're awesome, dude.
Sponsored by
awesome,
DoorDash.
Man.
Good job.
Yeah, you are awesome, brother.
Chris James, brother. How can they find you? Talk to them about the final whistle, all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. You can catch us here on Tuesday nights. Chris, we got to get you on, man. On the final whistle, we got to get you back on, brother. And Pettey, you got to come on too, man.
Let me know, man. I'll be there.
You busy Tuesday night, Pettey? It's at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern.
It's awesome, man.
Just let me know, man. I get Justin to hook us up, and I'll be there. I'm ready.
Great, man. Because man, I'm telling you, like that is like that show there is with Luscion and Ty Hayes and Dan and Matt the crew, man. It's like it's a melting pot of college football knowledge. And
right.
I really think they're trying to harness your skills as a sports bettor.
Ooh, bring them.
Yeah,
I had Bama yesterday.
I told people Bama money line was easy money.
Yes, it was. So was SMU.
Oh, see that's what I'm talking about. That's
yeah, you can come on.
You look for that
come on.
You just woke up a lot of.
You can come on.
Pony up.
Yeah, like I said, I love the tie, but when it comes to gambling, I like the green. So
that's right, brother.
You got to find the plays.
Well, Chris, before you start an addiction group, finish giving all your socials and the time of final whistle, all that good stuff.
And I'm a online monopoly enthusiast. So, when I'm not with the kids or the wife, I'm playing this Monopoly and watching college football. But you can find me here 9 p.m. Central. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Tuesday nights with the final whistle. You can catch me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. on Instagram at CKJ Senior 32 and on Twitter at Coach Chris James. Like I coach high school football and I teach economics. So it's the off season, so I'll be a lot more active since the season is over with. So you're going to be seeing a lot of me, hopefully, good Lord's willing. That's my spiel, man. I just enjoy. I enjoy this.
His economics, and he's wanting to endorse gambling. Nice.
Great, man. Hey, the crazy thing about it, I teach economics / personal finance. Yeah, I'm sitting here giving parlay advice.
Yeah, hey, just be on the side of Vegas.
There it is. That's what I tell them.
Well, folks, we greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. We initially wanted to come on here for about 20 or 30 minutes. And as always, we can't shut up because you want us to keep running our mouth. That's just how we do it. You love us. We're the best channel for a reason. It's because of you. I'll remind everybody of the programming we have on this channel. Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Bama Standard. And as Chris and Luscion just mentioned, you got the final whistle as the nightcap, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then on Wednesday nights, starting things out, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Crimson Dynasty with Cici Payne. And when Chris Owens isn't busy, he is on there with her giving his expert analysis along with Coach Smook, and then the nightcap for Wednesday nights. Guys, he's one of the best to ever do it. He has a Daniel Moore painting. He is the illustrious legend George Teague coming here live with Teague's Take, 8 p.m. Central, 8:15 p.m. Central, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll be on the Bama Standard post-game show following every game from here out. I guess we won't be doing anything for a couple of weeks, so you get a break from us. But either way, we got the best.
We could do a Heisman special if Milroe gets invited to Atlanta. I mean to New York.
Yes, if Milroe gets invited to Atlanta, folks, let us know in the comment section below. Do you want us to go live after that to break down the Heisman Trophy presentation? If so, we will be here because we serve you. But anyway, great show. We appreciate everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe button on the way out. For those businesses who want to get ahead, go to workspacepros.com. They'll get you set right. But for all of us, roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.